even though he isn't scoring. But I think for this team and in this situation on the biggest stage is that he will be out there, and I think that he is going to need, to finish off a play. Now that could be an assist, that could be a goal. I don't know, but I just do have a feeling, and I do know what it's like to play in Toronto, and there is a lot of pressure. And I was never a captain; I was an alternate captain, and I'm American-born kid, and and it's a much different world. I'm not trying to compare myself to Auston Matthews at all. I'm not.
Ice flew in overtime. The United States had just eliminated Sweden. Minutes later, the focus shifted inside the locker room. The captain stood at the center of it. Before the semifinal round of the Winter Olympics, a clear message was delivered to Auston Matthews. It was not about participation, it was about gold, and it changed the tone around Team USA. The statement came from within the roster. According to reports, a Team USA star made something clear to Auston Matthews and his teammates with a warning directed at Team Canada before the semifinal stage of the 2026 Winter Olympics. The message was direct. The team did not travel to the Olympics for a medal. The objective was gold. That framing set the stakes before the next game. Auston Matthews entered the tournament as captain of the United States. He also serves as captain of the Toronto Maple Leafs in the National Hockey League. His leadership role became a focus early in the Olympic tournament. Some public criticism questioned his production and impact. That discussion followed the opening games, but the results on the ice shifted the conversation. In a 5-1 victory over Germany, Matthews recorded 2 goals and 1 assist. Team USA teammates publicly responded to criticism surrounding their captain after that performance. According to the Times of India, teammates defended him and pointed to his overall impact. The report noted that Matthews answered critics with a strong performance in that game. The tone around his captaincy began to change after that result. Sportsnet reported that Matthews' influence extended beyond scoring. The outlet described how he inspired the United States during Olympic play. His role was presented as steady and consistent. The focus was placed on his performance in key situations. That coverage followed games in which the United States maintained control in group stage play. The tournament then moved into the quarterfinals. The United States faced Sweden. The game extended into overtime. Connor Hellebuyck guarded the net for Team USA. According to the Times of India, Hellebuyck gave a proud reaction as the United States defeated Sweden in overtime in the Olympic quarterfinal game. Quinn Hughes scored the overtime winner. The goal advanced the United States into the semifinal round. The quarterfinal result carried weight. Advancing placed the United States one step closer to the gold medal game. Both Team USA and Team Canada had completed strong group stage performances. Reports from The Sun indicated that the two nations were positioned for a potential gold medal clash if both advanced through the semifinals. That possibility intensified the rivalry narrative. It was in that context that the message toward Matthews surfaced. Reported that a Team USA star made something clear to Matthews and the roster with a threat directed at Team Canada. The statement emphasized that the Americans were not satisfied with reaching the semifinal stage. The objective was defined in one word: gold. The message circulated widely in coverage ahead of the next matchup. Matthew Tkachuk also addressed the team's mindset during the Olympic run. Reported that Tkachuk issued a bold comment on Team USA captain Auston Matthews, with a warning for Team Canada in the 2026 Winter Olympics. His remarks reinforced the internal standards set within the locker room. The tone was consistent with earlier statements from teammates. The focus remained fixed on finishing first. The captain's statistical output supported that message. Through the early stages of the Olympic tournament, Matthews ranked among Team USA's leading scorers. He recorded multiple points, including the 3-point game against Germany. His ice time remained significant in all situations. Coaches continued to deploy him in critical moments late in games. Connor Hellebuyck's performance against Sweden strengthened the team's position. His saves in regulation and overtime preserved the tie until Quinn Hughes ended the game. That sequence secured the semifinal berth. The win shifted focus immediately toward the next opponent. The structure of the Olympic bracket made the stakes visible. Advancement from the semifinal would place the winner into the gold medal game. Canada remained on the opposite path. Reports indicated that a meeting between the two would determine determine the champion if both advance. That scenario was widely discussed in sports media coverage. Within Team USA coverage, Matthews' leadership remained central. Sportsnet highlighted how he inspired teammates during Olympic competition. His deployment in offensive and defensive situations underscored his role. The three-point outing against Germany stood as a statistical marker in the tournament. That performance was cited repeatedly in reports analyzing his impact. The message before the semifinal was not framed as emotional. It was framed as a competitive standard. NHL described it as a warning directed at Canada through the captain and the team. The wording focused on expectations rather than celebration. The United States had not yet achieved the objective. The medal round was still ahead. Matthew Tkachuk's comments added weight to that framing. His statement linked the captain's role to the broader mission. The reference to Canada sharpened the rivalry angle. Media reports treated the remarks as a signal of confidence within the American roster. The context was the semifinal stage of the Olympic tournament. Auston Matthews remained at the center of coverage. His production, his leadership, and the public defense from teammates formed the core narrative. The 5-1 win over Germany and the overtime victory over Sweden provided measurable results. The semifinal appearance validated the team's position among tournament contenders. The story around Matthews evolved within days. Early criticism focused on whether he had done enough. The three-point performance against Germany provided concrete numbers. The overtime win over Sweden advanced the team. The public backing from teammates reframed the discussion. As the semifinal approached, coverage centered on the stakes. Gold medal expectations were stated openly by players. The captain's role remained visible in every report. The message delivered before the semifinal did not introduce new goals, clarified existing ones. The United States aimed to finish the tournament at the top of the podium, and that objective now stood one game closer.
We're with Bruce Boudreau and Frankie Corrado. Guys, Mitch Marner with another signature moment for Team Canada. Bruce, just how wild was that finish?
I'll tell you what, these are the kind of games where your heart can't take it. You're cheering for a team so much, and it's going back and forth. And when Mitch Marner made the play, it's so totally Mitch. It doesn't look like anything's going on. Then all of a sudden, a deke here, a move there, top right corner, and it was a great goal. We've seen it before. We've seen it in overtime in the past with Mitch Marner, but it sure you could feel Canada lifting up when that happened. So it was a great relief.
The entire country.
Yeah.
Sudden silence turned into instant celebration. Mitch Marner stepped into open ice and ended Canada's Olympic quarterfinal without warning. One shot decided everything. The threat of elimination disappeared in a moment. The goal sent Canada forward and shifted the pressure across the tournament. But that single play carried more meaning than just a win.
Well, and think about it. Canada needs someone to step up. Sidney Crosby wasn't in the game anymore. Celebrini and McDavid, they were unbelievable. McKinnon felt like he was going, but you needed someone else. And now, can I say that's big game Mitch Marner, the guy who has faced so much scrutiny throughout the course of his career for what he hasn't done in the playoffs as a member of the Toronto Maple Leafs, and now on the international stage delivering. Overtime winner at the Four Nations.
Mitch Marner delivered the decisive goal in overtime to push Canada past Czechia in the Olympic quarterfinal. The game had reached sudden death play after both teams remained locked at the end of regulation. With the season on the line and no room for error, Marner finished the contest during the opening stretch of overtime. The overtime format reduced the number of players on the ice. That created wider lanes and quicker rushes. Marner used that space to move into scoring position. Once he released the shot, the puck crossed the line and officials confirmed the goal. The contest ended immediately under sudden death rules. The win advanced Canada into the semifinal round. A loss would have ended its medal pursuit. Instead, the team moved forward in the bracket. The result shifted preparation toward the next opponent and kept Canada in position to compete for gold. Reports from ESPN confirmed that the goal came early in overtime and officially sealed the victory. Reuters described the outcome as Canada surviving a tense quarterfinal to reach the semifinal. The official scoring summary listed Marner as the player who ended the game. The matchup had remained tight throughout regulation. Neither side created a large separation on the scoreboard. Canada had to respond during key stretches to avoid elimination. The tie forced overtime and set up the decisive sequence. The timing of the goal also placed Marner into Olympic history discussion. Newsweek reported that his overtime winner marked the fastest overtime goal in Olympic hockey during the NHL participation participation era. That record became part of the official tournament data after the game concluded. Earlier in the same quarterfinal, Canada faced another challenge when captain Sidney Crosby left with a lower body injury. His departure required changes in forward lines and special teams units. Marner remained active in the offensive rotation as overtime began. NBC Olympics coverage noted that Canada escaped a difficult contest and confirmed that Marner's strike secured the semifinal berth. The goal prevented what would have been an early exit for one of the tournament favorites. The official result moved Canada into a semifinal meeting with Finland. Preparation time remained short between games. The overtime finish added physical strain to both teams, but Canada advanced while Czechia's tournament ended. Marner's role in the elimination round became the defining storyline of the night. The official box score recorded his goal as the final action of the game. With that play, Canada's Olympic campaign continued and the bracket shifted accordingly. The impact of Marner's goal extended beyond the final whistle. The quarterfinal carried elimination stakes, and the overtime format meant that one play would decide everything. When Marner scored, Canada's path in the tournament changed immediately. The semifinal opponent was Finland. The turnaround between games remained short under the Olympic schedule. Teams must prepare quickly following overtime contests. Canada advanced, but the workload from extended play remained part of the physical demand. Another factor shaped the context of the win. Earlier in the game, captain Sidney Crosby exited with a lower body injury and did not return. His absence required line changes before overtime began. Despite that adjustment, Canada maintained its offensive pressure. Marner stayed in the forward rotation and became the player who finished the contest. Newsweek reported that the timing of the overtime winner set a record in Olympic hockey during the NHL participation era. The official statistic attached Marner's name to that mark. That detail became part of tournament history and remained documented in Olympic records. NBC Olympics coverage described the victory as Canada surviving a close contest. The report confirmed that the decisive play came in overtime and immediately ended the match. The official scoring sheet listed Marner as the game-winning scorer, and the result placed Canada among the final four teams. The bracket shifted once the goal was recorded. Czechia's campaign concluded with the overtime loss. Canada continued forward with a semi-final berth secured. There was no shootout. There was no extended delay. The sudden death format meant that one successful attempt settled the outcome. Marner's overtime goal stands in the official record as the play that advanced Canada beyond the quarterfinal stage. The tournament structure moved ahead, and Canada remained in contention for a medal.
With Frankie Corrado, Brad Marchand watched Canada's last two games from up in the seats due to injury, but John Cooper said he'll be back in the lineup for the quarterfinals.
Cleared. Confirmed. Back in the lineup. Brad Marchand is officially returning to Team Canada just as the Olympic knockout stage begins. After missing 2 straight games, his sudden clearance has changed the quarterfinal picture. Coaches stayed quiet. Practices continued behind closed doors. Now the decision is final, and what this means for Canada's medal push is only starting to unfold. Brad Marchand will play in Canada's Olympic quarterfinal game in Milan. Head coach John Cooper confirmed that Marchand will be in the quarters, according to the Hockey News. That statement ended days of uncertainty about his status. Marchand had missed 2 group stage games but continued to practice with the team during that time. Canada completed the preliminary round with a perfect 3-0 record. The team defeated Czechia in its opening game. Marchand played limited minutes in that matchup and recorded 1 assist. After that, he did not dress against Switzerland. He also did not play in Canada's final group game, direct path to the quarterfinals. Sidney Crosby recorded multiple points in that game. The offense scored consistently across all 3 periods. Marchand watched from the sidelines as teammates closed out the group stage. Reports describe Marchand's absence as precautionary. He was not listed as a long-term injury case. He participated in team practices and skated in full gear. No public details were released about a specific injury. The Times of India reported that he had been cleared for Team Canada's Olympic quarterfinal return after injury concern. The 2026 Winter Olympics mark the first time since 2014 that NHL players are competing in the games. Canada's roster includes established NHL veterans and top scorers. Marchand brings more than 1,000 NHL games of experience. He has over 900 career points and more than 300 goals in regular season play. He also won a Stanley Cup with the Boston Bruins. With elimination games beginning, roster spots become tighter. Olympic rules limit the number of dressed skaters. years. Marchand's return means another forward will sit. Reports have mentioned lineup decisions involving players such as Nick Suzuki. Final combinations will appear on the official game sheet before puck drop. Canada now moves into single elimination play. One loss ends medal hopes. Marchand's confirmed return adds depth at a critical stage, and the quarterfinal lineup decision carries even more weight now. Marchand's NHL record shows long-term production and durability. He has played more than 1,000 regular season games. He has scored over 300 goals and recorded more than 900 career points. In the Stanley Cup playoffs, he has appeared in more than 140 games. He was part of Boston's 2011 Stanley Cup championship team. Internationally, he represented Canada at the 2016 World Cup of Hockey and scored in the tournament final. Canada's Olympic roster features veteran leaders such as Sidney Crosby and Connor McDavid. Both logged major minutes during the preliminary round. Crosby recorded multiple points against France. McDavid played in all 3 group games. Marchand's return adds another experienced winger who has played in high-pressure playoff games. Olympic tournament rules limit dressed skaters to 12 forwards and 6 defensemen per game. Because Marchand is returning, 1 forward must be scratched. Reports reference lineup considerations involving Nick Suzuki, though no final decision was publicly announced at the time of confirmation. Official line combinations will be known only when the game sheet is released before the quarterfinal. This Olympic tournament in Milan marks the first games with NHL participation since Sochi 2014. The league paused its season to allow players to compete. Canada entered the event as one of the top-seeded teams based on roster depth and experience. The group stage results supported that standing. Marchand's clearance now shifts attention to deployment. Coaches will decide his ice time, line placement, and special teams usage before puck drop. The quarterfinal begins a new phase, and the final roster choices will define Canada's next step in the medal round.
Sidney Crosby is aging like a fine wine.
Offensively, defensively, through the neutral zone, best player in the game.
I'm telling you, the best winner right now, Sidney Crosby.
Welcome to the Crosby Show, Canada. Slap me, silly, Sidney.
From Rimouski in the Quebec Major Junior League, Sidney Crosby.
Sidney Crosby has already broken American hearts once at the Olympics. 16 years after the golden goal, he is back on the Olympic stage in 2026. Canada has speed. Canada has scoring. But the most important piece of this gold medal run might still be number 87. Sidney Crosby may be Canada's secret weapon for Olympic gold. Team Canada has opened the 2026 tournament with a perfect 3-0 record in the group stage. They secured first place in Group A, including a decisive 5-1 win over Switzerland. Connor McDavid and Nathan MacKinnon have driven the offense. Jordan Binnington has been steady in goal. The NHL stars have returned to Olympic competition for the first time since 2014, and Canada looks deep. But beneath the speed and scoring is something less obvious. Crosby scored his 6th career Olympic goal in the win over Switzerland. It was his first Olympic goal in 12 years. The moment-connected era, from Vancouver to Sochi to Milano Cortina. While McDavid leads the rush and MacKinnon pushes the pace, Crosby controls the rhythm. That difference matters in tournament hockey. The Olympic format is short. There are no 7-game series. There is no time to adjust after multiple losses. One elimination game can end a gold medal run. In that environment, experience becomes critical. Crosby understands this structure better than most players in the tournament. In 2010, he scored the overtime winner against the United States to secure gold on home ice. In 2014, he captained Canada through a disciplined, defensively dominant tournament in Sochi. Those runs were not built on speed alone. They were built on control. At 2026, Canada has speed in abundance. McDavid may be the fastest player in the world with the puck. MacKinnon's north-south power forces defenders to retreat. But speed without control can become chaotic under pressure. Crosby provides the control. Face-offs are one example. In elimination games, defensive zone draws late in periods carry enormous weight. Crosby's career face-off percentage and his reliability in key situations reduce extended defensive pressure. Winning possession immediately after a whistle limits chaos. Puck protection is another factor. Crosby's ability to shield the puck along the boards buys time for line changes and resets. In tight Olympic games, that small advantage compounds over 60 minutes. Leadership inside the locker room is less visible but equally important. Canada's roster includes generational talents in McDavid and MacKinnon, but neither has won Olympic gold coupled with a full NHL field. Crosby has done it twice. That credibility shapes preparation. The 2026 team blends youth and experience. McDavid drives the offense. McKinnon generates high shot volume. But when momentum shifts, the bench looks to veterans. In short tournaments, emotional swings can derail structure. Crosby's calm presence reduces that risk. Through 3 group games, Canada has not trailed for extended periods. They have dictated tempo early, but knockout rounds present a different test. The United States remains unbeaten in its group. Sweden plays structured defensive hockey. Finland thrives in tight games. Canada's power play has operated efficiently in the group stage. McDavid and McKinnon control the half wall. Crosby often positions near the goal line or net front, creating passing angles and screening goaltenders. His awareness in tight spaces extends possession and opens lanes. On the penalty kill, Crosby reads passing lanes and anticipates rebound. Olympic games often swing on special teams. Veteran anticipation reduces breakdown. Jordan Binnington has been steady through the group stage, but goaltending always carries uncertainty in short tournaments. If a game tightens late, leadership on the bench becomes critical. Crosby's communication with line mates and defensemen reinforces structure shift by shift. Another factor is tournament pacing. The Olympic schedule compresses games into short windows. Fatigue builds quickly. Crosby's style relies less on raw speed and more on positioning and anticipation. That efficiency preserves energy over multiple rounds. Canada's 3-0 start signals strong preparation. The 5-1 win over Switzerland highlighted offense